That's Perro by Emigdio+Superpower, and that's the band I'm playing with right now. I made a video in Spanish explaining how we came up with the drum part for this track, and I thought I was going to do an English one, so this is it. So the way this drum part came to be, Eric Aldre, who is the producer and the engineer and also guitar player in the band, a friend of mine, he saw that I posted on Instagram a video of my. I was playing an exercise from my book that just came out recently, and he asked me if I could do something like that, like in a James Brown type of funky style, to the track, and this is the exercise that I was playing, the one that he saw and contacted me about. So he saw that and asked me about it, and I said, yeah, sure, send me the track. He sent me the track, and basically, I was hearing the no drums. So I tried to use the same idea that I use on the exercise and apply to the song. And this is what I came up with. Okay. Obviously, very obvious, this drum part didn't work at all with the piece, even though it was kind of like requested what they wanted. But it didn't work, and it didn't work for two reasons, for a couple of reasons. The first reason, the drum part is very busy. There's a lot of interaction between the hi-hat and the snare drum with ghost notes and the backbeat. But the bass line on the track is super, super busy. There's a lot of movement, a lot of notes all the time, very funky. And that clashes with what I'm playing on the hi-hat and the snare. Then also at the same time, the voice, the vocal line is very percussive. It's very bassy as well. It's very active. So again, having all those elements working together with a drum beat, the essence would have been better just to slow it, do something simpler. So this is what I come up with. Okay, that rhythm that you heard is the one we use at the beginning of the song, when everything starts. It's very simple. It's right before the verse. I'm playing just 8 notes on the hi-hat, accenting the first 8 note of every beat, and I'm playing 16 notes, ghost notes, in between the down the backbeat of every 2 or 4, to give that sense of subdivision that already the vocals and the bass lines are doing. But for the verse, I felt I needed to change the pattern a little bit to emphasize that bouncy, happy, almost happy feeling that the verse implied. So it's the same rhythm, but here's the variation. There you go. So as you can see, the variation is just, instead of accenting every downbeat on the 8 note, I'm accenting every upbeat, every second 8 note. It's the same rhythm basically. And there you have it. That made the rhythm for the verse. And one of the main things that Eric Aldrey asked when he was trying to convey what he wanted is that he needed to have some sort of a almost a Brazilian feel, you know, like a bossa nova or samba, but because of the rhythm of the bass line wouldn't allow you to play that beat because there's nobody really emphasizing that with you as a drummer. I thought, well, maybe I can just simplify it and just have that tum 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 tum. Every time I'm going to reach the beat 3 of every measure, I emphasize it with the bass drum, and it will coincide with some of the lines that the bass is playing. Now, when it comes to the chorus, or the shout chorus, how I call it, because that's where all the horns and everything is happening, I decided to change the rhythm a little bit more, and this is what I come up with. Okay, so there you have it. That's the chorus beat for the Perro, and what I'm doing is I'm sparsely opening the hi-hat on the upbeat. There's not a fixed way that I say I'm going to open it every other. I just I was trying to interact more with what was happening in the song. So it's very random the way I open it, maybe sometimes twice in a row, 3 times in a row, maybe just one, then I go back and close it, but always emphasizing the up beat, which is the second 8th note of every beat. Also, there are other things that were recorded on top of the drum set. There were some brushes that were done on the snare, playing like a bossa nova type of pattern on the snare. There were some shakers, and right when the chorus start, and then also some cabasa once the horns start playing, that doing some, like maybe on 4 beat 4, there's some cabasa movement there. But as you can see, as you can hear, the beat sounded incredible, and it worked really well with the song. So it's one of those things that really helps to have a good producer that tells you what to do, or like all our collective mind trying to work on the right way to do it. As a very curious fact, that's the verse beat. So as a curious note, that drum set was all the things that we used were bass drum, snare, hi-hat, right cymbal, and a big 21 inches crash from Sultan cymbals. Nothing else. There's no toms. There's, if you can hear on the song, there's only some very little movement on the snare as a type of fills, but there's really not movement on toms or anything. I don't think the song needed it, and that was also a challenge, because as we drummers always want to, like, we need to play something. But again, this is simplicity was the key. The other very interesting data is that we only use 2 microphones to record this track. 2 ribbon mics placed. There was one probably like 3 feet away from equidistance from the snare, and the other one not directly in the bass drum, but like facing the drums, like 3 feet away from the point of the snare, facing the drum, and like angle a little bit facing like between the bass drum and the snare, so you can receive the whole punchy air coming from the bass drum. So that's it. That's the track, and I hope you like it. Okay, so see you soon. Camino termina en la policía. Ahora vengo de regreso.
Lady